For days, 14,000 Haitian migrants have been virtually camping underneath a bridge in Del Rio, Texas, in this makeshift camp, ideally waiting to be let into the United States or make an asylum claim, or of course, be deported. And this weekend, Border Patrol began to do just that, specifically deporting and trying to honestly terrorize that encampment and not allowing migrants to make it into the United States to make their claims. And they did so in pretty disgusting fashion, which led to some really horrendous images, specifically of Border Patrol on horse chasing Haitian migrants around basically this, the border. And I want to just go to some of those images. You saw that encampment. Let's just go to some of these images. Here the Border Patrol are on horseback chasing migrants. I believe it looks like there's like even whips involved.
Yep, sure.
Now, let's understand what these images are conjuring up, right? Like it should not be lost on any American to see men on horseback, mostly white men on horseback, chasing African migrants, Haitian migrants, migrants of African descent from Haiti around come on. This is the year 2021, and these are the images that we have, right? This is Border Patrol. This is the so-called humanitarian way that we deal with migrants. This is what happens when you just say don't come, and then migrants end up coming. Then you get chased around to make it look like we're in the middle of a slave patrol here.
They're kids. They're literally kids. They're teenagers. They're kids that are in those photos that are facing incredible amount of circumstances that have happened in Haiti over the last 5 years, but especially over the last year, with assassinations, earthquakes. And this is the way that we say, oh, this is the land of the free. This is the way that we welcome people with whips and horses to children.
Whips. Look, we've done our fair coverage of like police brutality and violence, but it's like there is something especially disgusting to go back to a whip instead of like a taser. Like I'm not arguing in advance for anything, but like, yeah, seeing black migrants be treated like this is just, come on, it is awful, it is inhuman. And so let's go to actually what is happening. There are a number of flights, many flights that are trying to slowly or quickly actually deport these migrants. So US Border Patrol Chief Raul L. Ortiz said the agency is increasing the capacity of Title 42 flights to expel individuals to Haiti and other countries of origin. What is Title 42? So while international law protects the rights to seek asylum, Public Health Ordinance Title 42, adopted by former President Donald Trump during COVID-19 and continued by President Joe Biden, allows for rapid expulsions without the opportunity to seek asylum. Now, Biden did amend Title 42 to not apply to children, I believe very young children. But as we saw in that image, that looks like a kid of like what, 7 or 8 right there. And also he's continuing with this policy. So we are deporting en masse Haitian migrants who are fleeing a situation that is deathly over there in terms of whether it's political instability, whether it is the earthquake that have left many communities devastated. But it's happening. So more than 320 migrants arrived in Port-au-Prince on 3 flights on Sunday. Haiti said that 6 flights were expected on Tuesday. US authorities were moving to expel many more of the 12,000 migrants, 12 to 14,000 migrants who camped under the bridge in Del Rio after crossing from Ciudad Acuña, Mexico. And Mexico, by the way, totally complying with this, right? So this is part of that deal, is kind of like putting the pressure on Mexico. Hey, can you also put the squeeze from your end? Well, where are migrants supposed to go? Well, what is supposed to happen, right? If you don't like people living under a bridge, why don't you give them temporary housing, right? Why don't you allow them in to stay either in Acuña or to stay in the United States safely? Look, I don't believe detention is good. I don't want especially private detention facilities, but I certainly do not want to see people living under a bridge in the United States. when they're coming to seek asylum. So it's just devastating. I want to go to someone to speak in their own words, a migrant to speak in their own words. This is Charles Edirame, who is resting on Sunday in Ciudad Acuña with his wife and daughter. First, they had crossed into the encampment, but when they heard about the deportations, they returned to Mexico. The Haitian family was deciding what to do next. Quote, "We don't have any money, we don't have anything. We spent 2 months getting here on foot. In Haiti, we don't have a president. There was just an earthquake. How can I go back to Haiti? If I go back, I could die the next day," is what he says. Nelini, just thoughts on that and on this continued government attitude toward migrants right now at this time?
Yeah, I mean, all of this is especially hurtful when the Senate parliamentarian yesterday ruled that immigration, a pathway to citizenship, couldn't be in the reconciliation package. This came out last night. And so you have people who are fighting for communities. You have organizations like the National Domestic Workers, Mi Gente, and so many who have been fighting for a pathway to citizenship for such a long time. And to deny it every step of the way, and to be like, well, what these people need to go, and we're gonna meet them with whips and on horseback is it's really one of the most vile things that I've seen. In modern times in this country, is just like not giving any option, not giving anything, but just detaining people or violently deporting them or violently treating them is just, it is not what apparently this country was founded on, or what we uplift to the rest of the world.
Yes, 100%. Thank you for saying that.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.